Well, good afternoon, students. Myself, Dr. Sandeep Gupta. I am the Assistant Professor in Applied Science and Humanity Department in Ajay Kumar Garg Engineering College, Ghaziabad. So, in this topic, the environment and its segments, which is a part of subject environment and ecology. So, we are going to discuss what are the various segments of the environment. So, as you all know, that the environment is a sum of essential surroundings around a living species. It contains physical environment, it contains social surrounding, it contains biological surroundings, all kind of surroundings around a living species. It is called environment. So, this, as you can see, that the slide is written here. The environment is the sum of all social, economical, biological, physical, chemical factors that makes the surrounding of a living organism, including human being, which is scientific name of the human being is Homo sapiens, and the plants. Okay. So, if you will see the environment, you can see we are surrounded by one circle, which is solid circle, and it is also named as lithosphere. Okay, solid circle, which is the lithosphere, and we are commonly named is at Earth, the solid part of the Earth, which is called lithosphere. The another part, which is liquid part, and we are also surrounded by the liquid part, which is hydrosphere. Okay, and another part through which we are surrounded, and it is called the gaseous part, and it is named as atmosphere. So, atmosphere is basically gaseous envelope around a living species. Hydrosphere is aquatic circle around a living species, and lithosphere is a solid circle around the living species. And this common region through which these all circles are overlapping, this is named as biosphere, where the probability of life is very high. Means the life is, all the essential conditions are complete and in an equilibrium for the survival of the living species in this biosphere zone. So, today I am going to discuss the one segment of the environment, which is the atmosphere. So, as I earlier told you, the atmosphere is a blanket of gases. It contains suspended particulate matters, various aerosol, which envelops the earth. If you will weigh 1 liter of air, you can weigh it around 1.3 gram, and the pressure of this air is 1033.6 gram per centimeter square from the sea level, which is 1 atmospheric pressure, and the total mass of the atmosphere is approximately 5 into 10 to the power 5 tons, which is quite a large part, and maximum of this mass lies within the 30 kilometer of the Earth's surface. So, this is the introductory part which we can consider in the atmosphere. Now, the atmosphere is basically divided into 3 main components. One is the major component, the minor component, and the trace component. So, components are the essential part which cannot be segregated from the main body. So, if we have gaseous envelope, we have an atmosphere, then we must have some major component of the gases, the minor component of the gases, and the trace component of the gases. The major component of the atmosphere is made by nitrogen, oxygen, and water vapors. So, as we all know that nitrogen is roughly 78%, and here I have written 78.09%, which is the exact figure, and oxygen, it is 20.94%, and water vapor ranges from 0.1 to 5%, which makes a large proportion. That's why they are called major component of ecosystem. While minor component of the ecosystems are made by argon gas, which is 0.93%, and the carbon dioxide, which is 0.03%. And the trace components in the atmosphere is made by neon, helium, methane, ozone, etc. Various gases, various you can say segments, various small components are present in this trace part, which is very essential, but they cannot be beyond the one point. Their concentration is very limited. If their concentration will be high, then they will become polluted and they will create pollution. Okay, so as you all know that the ozone is very useful in stratosphere, but if ozone produces on the troposphere, it is a pollutant. It will act as a pollutant, and it creates irritation in our eyes, watering in our eyes, and it creates a little bit uneasiness in the breathing process. So the component can be divided into three parts: major component, minor component, and the trace component. So this slide will demonstrate you the structure of ecosystem. We have, by and large, we have four parts: troposphere, stratosphere, mesosphere, and thermosphere. So this diagram will show you this 0 to 11 kilometer altitude. This will give you the troposphere part, okay, where the temperature tends to decrease. And this dotted line have the common region, the common properties of this sphere, stratosphere, and troposphere, and this zone is named as tropopause. Okay. Similarly, in a stratosphere, the temperature and altitude varies, and this dotted line is stratopause, and then same mesosphere and thermosphere. So basically, this atmosphere can be roughly divided into troposphere, stratosphere, mesosphere, and thermosphere. So these are the four major segments of the atmosphere. Okay. Earlier we have discussed the components. Now we are discussing the segment of the atmosphere. So atmosphere, the different segments, this table will tell you, give the rough demonstration of the chemical species, the temperature, and altitude. So that in troposphere we have 0 to 11 kilometer altitude, while the temperature ranges from 15 to minus 56 degrees centigrade, and the chemical species which are present in the troposphere, it is nitrogen, oxygen, carbon dioxide, and moisture content. While in stratosphere, the altitude varies from 11 to 50 kilometer, and the temperature ranges from minus 56 to minus 2 degrees centigrade, and the chemical species are ozone. While in mesosphere, the temperature altitude varies from 50 to 85 kilometers, and the temperature ranges from minus 2 to minus 92 degrees centigrade, and the species are ionized species. While in the thermosphere, the altitude varies from 85 to 500 kilometer, and the temperature ranges from minus 92 to 1200 degrees centigrade, and the species are also very rarefied. Very rare and very less species are present here, but all the species are in form of ions. So this slide will tell you the troposphere and its importance. So this is the first part of the atmosphere. So the whole content will be divided into first part, which is altitude, temperature, then you can say lapse rate, then residence time, and the common characteristics. So altitude and temperature, we had discussed that the altitude varies from 0 to 11 kilometer or 15 kilometer, because the in troposphere, what happens when the surface is very condensed or very cool, then all the gaseous envelope will become condensed and the upper range will become 11 kilometer. And the surface of the earth is hot, then the gases will be expand and it will reach to the range 15 kilometers. Okay, so that's why this altitude varies and the temperature varies from 15 to minus 56 degrees centigrade by giving the positive lapse rate. Okay, it will give you the positive lapse rate, while the residence time of the pollutants are very less. Once the pollutants come, they will quickly settle down and will become a part of biogeochemical cycles. So the residence time of the pollutants are very less. So what I have written here, it is the lower proportion of the atmosphere and it extends up to about 8 kilometer at pole and 16 kilometer at equator. And the upper part of the troposphere may vary from some kilometer to more. It depends upon the various factors such as temperature and the nature of terrestrial surface. So as I earlier told you, in summer the terrestrial surface will become hot and the gases will expand and increase the upper limit of the troposphere. While in the winter, what happens? The gases will be condensed and reduce the upper part of the troposphere and will become up to 11 kilometers. It is the most turbulent zone because of the pressure difference in between the pole and the equator. The temperature and the temperature difference in between the poles and the equator. This is the most turbulent zone because the pressure also different. We will see the difference in pressure also here. So it is the most turbulent zone, which is the main abode of clouds, storms, and convective motions. All these things are available in this troposphere. So due to the turbulence, the residence time of the gases is lesser than the other region of the atmosphere, and the temperature decreases here with increase in altitude, and it will give the positive lapse rate, and the temperature decreases from 6 degrees centigrade per kilometer in this zone. This zone is in a contact with the upper zone of the stratosphere, and this have common property of the stratosphere and troposphere, which is called tropopause region. And one of the recent changes that has been noticed in the troposphere, it is acid rain, El Nino, and global warming. Kindly forbid this equation, which is a part of Petri. So neglect it. So next is the stratosphere. So stratosphere, it is the next layer, which is quite calm, and the temperature increases with the increase in altitude. The temperature increases because of this reaction. This ozone, availability of ozone is here. This ozone absorb the ultraviolet B radiation and get split into O2 plus nascent oxygen. This nascent oxygen formally again interact with the oxygen and forms ozone. So by one reaction, the ozone is depleting, and by the another reaction, the same amount of ozone is creating. So there is a balance in between the formation and the destruction. What happens? Overall, the harmful ultraviolet B radiations get absorbed during this reaction. So here you can see this is the next layer of the atmosphere. So this is the troposphere where the temperature tends down, and now that in the stratosphere the temperature tends to increase by giving the negative lapse rate. The residence time of the pollutants are very high. Once the pollutant get reach into this zone or in this stratosphere, it will remain active for a long period. Okay, and it will create a global hazards. Okay, and the next layer, which is mesosphere, this pause zone contains common characteristics of mesosphere as well as stratosphere. Okay, so mesosphere, it is the third layer of atmosphere where temperature falls with increase in altitude because of low level of ultraviolet absorbing species. It gives again positive lapse rate. So we can see here that first we'll get positive, then negative, and again positive, and then again negative. So this is the positive, negative, and negative lapse rate we can observe in this stratosphere. So this is here we can see the positive lapse rate, and the region where mesosphere contact to exosphere, it is called mesopause, where temperature drops at minimum very low, which is near about 100 degrees centigrade, minus 100 degrees centigrade, and it is a remarkable feature where the burning of meteorites can be observed. While the upper part of this mesosphere, okay, this mesosphere is also basically divided into two parts. One is the mesosphere and another one is the ionosphere. So ionosphere is a part of this exosphere basically, okay, which is common in between the mesosphere and ionosphere, exosphere. So this ionosphere is that place where radio waves can move and helps in the propagation of wireless communication, helps in the propagation of radio waves and makes a possibility of wireless communication. Okay, so this exosphere, this is the last zone where the temperature tends to increase once again due to the cosmic rays, due to the EMR, different EMR received from the sun. It is the last region of the atmosphere where temperature increases once again up to thermopause, and it is a constant with height and giving a negative lapse rate. Kindly correct it. Giving a negative lapse rate. Okay, where temperature reaches maximum up to 1200 degrees centigrade, and the ionization of gases is very high, and all gaseous molecule split into ion due to excess radiation. The air is so rarefied that the individual molecule travel an average of 1 kilometer distance, and the International Space Station's orbits are placed in this exosphere region, and the one important phenomena that we have observed, this is the aurora australis and aurora borealis, which is occasionally seen in thermosphere and the lower part of the exosphere. So this is the basically aurora australis and aurora borealis, which is remarkable, which is visualized in red and blue green color, and this is the International Airspace Station which is placed in this exosphere region. So in overall, in a quick view, we can see that the environment is the sum of all essential conditions. Then environment have atmosphere, lithosphere, biosphere, and you can say one more is hydrosphere. This atmosphere can be further divided into troposphere, stratosphere, mesosphere, and exosphere, and all the characters we have discussed here. I hope you have got a little bit information about from this video lecture. Thank you very much.